to sit still much. I want to welcome Mishie to our family, and very happy to get such a wonderful sister-in-law. Mishie and I, half of our lives, didn't really live close together, but we managed to stay close together, and we always have each other's back. And I hope that we can continue to do that for many, many more years to come. It was great to welcome Mishie and David and Mimi about 2 months ago in Minneapolis and meet our big, loud family. It felt a little bit like a big fat Greek wedding. The 3 of them arrived, and with this family that speaks different language all over them. But they embraced us beautifully, and I hope that you understand. It is a lot of work. There's 2 cultures embracing here. It's probably harder for, some of us that come from the same. I've been married for 16 years in the same culture, and I'll admit, it isn't always easy. So I really, really appreciate you welcoming us just the way we are, and I hope that you keep an open mind about who we are and what we are and where Misha came from. And with that, it wouldn't be, of course, an older sister if I won't take this probably last chance to give Mishie and Misha an advice. In the 16 years that I've been married, I learned that making marriage works takes just as much love as it takes compromise. It takes choosing your battles. Sometimes it's worth losing a battle or 2, but to win a war. A great marriage isn't always about being a perfect couple. It's about maybe an imperfect couple who learn to enjoy their differences. And I hope that you continue to love and embrace the individual differences that make each of you the incredible people that you are. And with that, like my mom said, we have a grandma who is over 70 years old, and she makes videos for fun. She made it probably the first video, maybe even not, when we were only in this country for about 5 years or so. She actually went to college, believe it or not, to learn how to do that when she was a little younger. And so she continues to make videos for every very special occasion. Unfortunately, they can't be here with us today, but they're sending their love to everyone here, to Mishie and Misha and the whole family and friends. And with that, here's the video that made by our family and our grandma.
Gorka.
So dear and near that I wrote a short poem which I dedicated to Misha. Here it goes. Everybody can hear me? Yeah. To Mishie and Misha on their wedding day. It's such a great, magnificent event. Mishie and Misha's marriage celebration. First hours of their fully married life came in and went. From now on, they go together hand in hand, and now the word family defines their new relation. What stays in our world stronger than time? Our dearly newlyweds are young, still unaware that time is very fast in each tick, each chime, that people wish to slow down time, sometime. But look at them. What do they care? Love is that secret anti-timing key with which they will oppose the frequent change of seasons. 2 couples of their parents, as true as they could be, have kept their keys through years so carefully to do the same. Their children have every reason. Now, Montana, our dear friends, we are so glad to be with you here and now. For family, like love, just never ends. Like you were happy, like you were proud. Ida and I have known Misha for longer than a day. We love him like our son. We see that Mishie is a treasure. To say all this, To say all this, we came from Minnesota, from very far away. And now, to two Mishas, I have just one more line to say. We wish you love and happiness without any measure. Be happy.
Okay, where do I start? I was going to give a short speech, but given that this might be the last time I get to speak at length, uninterrupted, I'm going to take advantage. I look around the tables, I look around this venue, and I can hardly believe that this is all happening. I can't tell you how grateful we are to all of you for making a long journey here to celebrate with us. This entire weekend, I felt like stopping time to soak up this incredible feeling to have our closest friends and family around us. The truth is, all of you here have played a huge part in making Misha and I who we are as people. I look around the tables and I see someone from each chapter of my life. To have you all here celebrating this amazing occasion with us is pretty overwhelming. I kept saying to Misha all weekend, I said, can you believe all these people are here? Like, this is, for us, this is crazy. They literally come from all over the world to be with us. What can I say? I feel very rich tonight, and not because we're here, but because of who's here. Thank you so much for being here, for making these last few days the best days of our lives. I hope it's been worth it. Everything you see here, I've had nothing to do with it. My only contribution to this wedding was to suggest the most inconvenient place for everyone to get to. I thought, okay, we're planning a wedding, we need to pick a location that makes most guests, that takes most guests at least 2 days and 5 time zones to arrive at destination. I can recall when I first told David and Mimi that we decided to have a wedding on the Amalfi Coast. There was a bit of silence, and then David says, I'm sorry, darling. Did you say the Amalfi Coast? Did I hear that right? He immediately proceeded to do the math and how long it takes to get there. Either that or he was starting to regret those 30 camels that he sent over to Minnesota. By the way, David, I'm not sure if they're still coming, but some of them have not arrived yet. Honestly, on a serious note, I couldn't wish for better in-laws. David, Mimi, Ben, Faye. I'm so grateful for how you've taken me into your family. You've made me feel like, you've made me feel at home. You've made me feel part of things from the start, and I really appreciate it. Your warmth, your hospitality, your generosity has no bounds, and I'm very, very grateful for how you've taken me in and how you've made me feel. Thank you. More importantly, thank you for raising such an amazing woman. Yeah. Who I love very, very much. Which brings me to my best man. Thought he had the last word. I can't believe, Nate, there are guests here from Australia. They're not the ones who had the longest journey. How you managed to end up in New Zealand is beyond me. Hard to believe we've been friends for over 20 years. We've come a long way since we first met on the soccer field, and I thought, wow, that guy's smaller than me. Seriously, I think that's what initially made us really good friends. We both love soccer, we were both small, and we're both very good. Something else that neither of us lacked was confidence. Although I probably outshined you in that department as well. You did always try to keep me grounded, even if I didn't start listening until a few years ago. You've always been a voice of reason, someone whose opinion I valued a great deal. For instance, Nate, even at young and tender age of 17, when we were roommates in college, understood that my choice of music could significantly hurt my social status. Apparently listening to Roxette or Cranberries wasn't something to shout about. It was never going to be heard in our room. That's when Nate introduced me to hip hop, while educating me about all the rivalries between gangster rappers. I could barely speak English at the time. I did go on to DJ, so it wasn't all wasted on me. So the truth is, the truth is, for most of the time we've been friends, we've lived in different places, and the fact that we remain as close as we have is a testament to our friendship, and I'm very grateful to have such an amazing and loyal friend. A few words for my parents. I know what my parents are thinking right now. It's about time. But on a serious note, I know you couldn't be happier that I waited to find what's truly mine. You've always encouraged that. You gave me the opportunity to experience everything that life has to offer, and I'll always be grateful to you for that. You've given me the appetite for life, for people, for experiences. It's these things that you taught me to value. You taught me from an early age that the most important thing in life is to be yourself, to be true to yourself, and to be authentic. And you made me realize what it means to be alive, to feel alive, to know who you are and what makes you tick. It's what made me take up football when I did, to follow my heart when I was in school, to change careers when I moved to London. You taught me that I deserve what it is that I want. You've given me the best platform I could have ever had to have the life that I enjoy today. Crazy to think that we immigrated to the States with $600 in our pockets in hope that Ian and I would have a better life. Who would have thought that 20 years on I'd be getting married on the Amalfi Coast? Thank you for all the sacrifices that you made, and I know there were many. You two are the most selfless people I've ever come across in my life, and I've been all over the world. More importantly, I've got to thank you for never comparing me to other people, especially my sister. Ina, right, yeah, right there. I owe you no favors. You set the bar so high and so early. If it wasn't for parents, I would have had serious insecurity complex my entire existence. Our teachers were equally as eager to see our parents. Yours to tell them how brilliant you are, and mine to tell them to take me to a different school. But truth be told, I've always looked up to you, and I couldn't wish for a better older sister. From as long as I can remember, you've taken a lot of pride in being my older sister. I'll never forget the story when you left parents a note not to forget to pick me up from kindergarten. You must have been like 5 years old. I think that sums you up. You're very loyal, you're very protective, you're very responsible. And I'm glad that despite being very different, we're still very, very close. I used to look at you and think, if I could only find someone like my sister. And this brings me to my beautiful bride today. It's crazy for me to think of the journey that brought us here. We've literally circled the planet to find each other, and I'm so glad that we did. I've often wondered if this feeling that you crave, whatever this feeling is, if it actually exists in reality. And it was definitely worth the wait. I'm almost done, don't worry. I know you're thinking, oh, he's taking so long. I can still remember the night we met in East Finchley, if some of you have not heard. Mishie. Excuse me? There's an A in the end of that. No, there's not. Yes, there is. I know how to spell my name. So do I. This seriously could have been a sitcom. Who knew that the encounter in the kitchen, would lead us here? You spent the rest of that night not being at all interested by asking me a million questions. I was doing my best not to be interested either. Luckily for us, Shimmy, there's Shimmy, yeah. Luckily Shimmy was there. Where am I? To ensure that random encounter wasn't going to go to waste. I was doing my best, pretending like I'm not that bothered, and of course not expecting to get called out. And I was. And Shimmy had her own ideas and says, "Hey, you gonna get her number or what?"
It was so obvious.
Yeah, it was pretty obvious. And that was the start of it. We've literally traveled the world in search of finding something, or rather someone, to share this amazing journey called life. And as often happens in life, it didn't happen the way we planned, but rather in its own time. I'm often asked when I knew that this was it. Well, I remember going on a long walk with Alex and Susanna. And talking their ear off about this girl I met. And it's as if something came over me and I couldn't stop talking and thinking about it. And finally Alex was like, "Dude, I think you really like this girl." The truth is, I never imagined I could feel the way I do when we're together. You have this incredibly contagious energy that makes people want to be in your company. I knew pretty early on, as whenever we're apart, I couldn't wait to see you. Whenever we were together, I felt alive. I finally had that feeling I've craved my whole life, to be able to connect with someone on a level that you just can't really put into words. When I'm with you, I feel like my world and my life makes perfect sense, and that everything is exactly the way it should be. You often say that I'm a bit of a dreamer, and you may be right. But if I wasn't a dreamer, I wouldn't have been in London, we wouldn't have met or started dating, and we probably wouldn't have had our wedding here. Because the only life that makes sense to me is the one where the only question you ask yourself is, why not? Why not me? So now, as I sign off and leave my bachelor life behind, there are a few things I'm gonna miss. Like going to bed when I actually want to go to bed. Maybe I don't want to brush my teeth before I go to bed. Like watching football with sound on. Not too much to ask? Or maybe only having to report to my boss at work. Or to having a few nights just without any plans, you know? But in saying that, I couldn't be happier knowing that I get to spend the rest of my life with you. Someone once told me that what's yours won't pass you. I'm glad that you didn't pass me by. So on that note, can I please ask you, all of you, to raise your glasses to my beautiful wife. I love you very much, and I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you.
My goodness, to follow so many wonderful speeches is really with someone entertaining us in the background, but I have a loud voice. So. Well, where do I begin? As most of you know, I am not usually overwhelmed, nor usually lost for words. But I have to admit that I am very overwhelmed by the events of today, the last 4 days here, the last 14 months altogether. So in this somewhat overwhelmed state, I'm going to start with two sentiments that seem the most important to me today. Which are love and gratitude. There are so many thank yous, I really don't know where to begin, but don't worry, I'm going to be brief. And since my parents are the first reason for my being here, I'll start with them. For those that know our family, you will know that that we are not exactly your Brady Bunch type. My brother and I learnt to stand our ground against our patriarch from a very early age. And you might say that we have been enjoying arguing ever since. But an outsider would miss the point that all of our arguments, or at least most of them, are in good humor, and that I love my dad, respect him, and appreciate him immensely. And I'm sure you'll all agree that he speaks so eloquently that the rest of us can only try to live up to his example. Dad has given me the gift of his dry sense of humor, and although I'm sure it wasn't his intention, he's also taught me to have an opinion. And thank you, Dad, for your kind words earlier and not embarrassing me too much. To my long-suffering mum, who has always been the family peacemaker, and I told Misha not to cry, and here I am. But I'm sure those of you who know my mother know what a mother she is and what an inspiration she is to me. And if I could be half the mother that you've been to me, then I will be doing an amazing job. You are possibly the kindest and most giving person I've ever met, and I'm so lucky and appreciative to have you as my mum. To both my parents, thank you so much for all your moral and financial support over the years, especially for continuing to support me so much even though I live so far away. I know it has not been easy having both your children living overseas for so long, and we both appreciate your willingness to travel and to visit us and support us regardless of where we live. Thank you also for welcoming Misha.